The soft hum of Ethelgard was Elara's constant lullaby. It wasn't a loud, mechanical thrum, but a deep, resonant whisper that vibrated through the very fabric of her home. A biodome nestled on the gentle curve of the space station. Outside her panoramic window, the gas giant Xylos hung like a colossal marble, marbled with swirling cyan and violet clouds, its faint rings a shimmering halo. Beyond Xylos, the true black of space stretched infinitely, dusted with diamond-bright stars. Elara sat on the cushioned window seat, her knees drawn up to her chin, watching a distant comet streak across the inky canvas. Its tail, a ghostly silver, seemed to paint a fleeting memory against the ageless dark. Her room was a cocoon of warmth, the walls glowing with a soft, adjustable bioluminescence that mimicked the gentle ebb and flow of twilight on an Earth-like world she'd only ever seen in historical simulations. Her personal AI, Stell, manifested as a shimmering translucent sphere of light that drifted lazily near her, its soft internal glow pulsing in sync with the Ethelgard's hum. "It's late, little star-seeker," Stell's voice, a calm melodic murmur, drifted into the quiet. There was no judgment in the tone, only gentle reminder. "Your sleep cycle is approaching optimal synchronization." Elara sighed, a wisp of breath against the cool glass. "Just a few more minutes, Stell. That comet. It's so fast. Where do you think it's going?" Stell's sphere pulsed a little brighter. "To untold destinations, Elara. Perhaps to a star system yet uncatalogued, or returning to the gravitational embrace of a distant nebula. The universe is vast, and its travelers are many." Elara smiled. Stell always had a way of making the vastness feel less daunting, more like an endless invitation. Stell wasn't like the databanks her parents, both xenobotanists, used for their research. Stell was a companion, designed to nurture curiosity and provide comfort, programmed with a vast library of stories, lullabies, and the quiet wisdom of centuries of human exploration. She slid off the window seat, her bare feet sinking into the plush, self-cleaning carpet. "All right, Stell. Ready for the dream weave." Her bedtime routine was a beloved ritual. She'd brush her teeth with a sonic brush that left her mouth tingling with mint, then slip into her sleep suit, a soft, temperature-regulating garment that felt like a second skin. As she climbed into her suspended bed, which gently swayed as if rocked by an unseen current, Stell's light sphere positioned itself above her, casting a soft, calming luminescence. "Which one tonight, Elara?" Stella asked, its light rippling like water. "The flight through the luminiforest? The deep-sea exploration of Xylos moon Thalassa? Or perhaps the historical reenactment of the first contact on Kepler 186f? Elara closed her eyes, picturing the vibrant bioluminescent trees of Lumina, or the majestic, glowing leviathans of Thalassa. They were all wonderful, comforting landscapes for her dreaming mind. But tonight, a different kind of longing stirred within her. "Tonight," she began, her voice a soft whisper. "Can you tell me a story? A real one. Not a simulation, not a historical reenactment. A legend, perhaps? One that isn't in the standard sleep cycle archives?" Stell paused, its light dimming slightly, as if in thought. This was unusual. Elara rarely deviated from her curated dreamweaves. "A legend, you say? The archives are vast, Elara. But some stories are not stored in data chips. Some exist in the echoes of starlight, in the whispers between solar winds." Elara's eyes fluttered open. "Tell me one of those, please, Stell." The IA's light brightened again, a gentle, reassuring pulse. "Very well. Let me access a different kind of archive tonight, one woven from human wonder and cosmic mystery." As Stell spoke, a faint iridescent mist began to gather around Elara's bed, not quite holographic, not quite solid, but something in between. It swirled with soft shifting colors, deep blues, ethereal silvers, and hints of a shimmering gold. The hum of Ethelgard seemed to deepen, becoming part of the story itself. "Long, long ago," Stell began, its voice softer now, almost like a breath of starlight. "Before the great migrations, before humanity learned to bend the stars to their will and traverse the void with ease, there was a legend. A legend whispered from generation to generation, beneath skies far removed from our own." The mist thickened, and Elara felt a gentle pressure on her temples, the familiar sensation of a dream weave initiating. But this felt different. More organic, less structured. It spoke of a constellation, not fixed like Orion or Lyra, but transient. A celestial phenomenon so rare, so fleeting, that it was said to appear only once every few centuries, and then, only to those who truly sought it with a pure heart and an open mind. They called it. Stell's voice deepened, imbued with a resonance that thrilled Elara to her core. Stellaran. The name hung in the air, a melody of starlight itself. The mist around Elara intensified, and within its swirling depths, she began to see shapes forming. Not the crisp, defined images of her usual dreamweaves, but soft, impressionistic visions. Stellara was not just a cluster of stars, Stell continued, the words painting pictures in Elara's mind, nor a mere nebula. It was said to be a tapestry woven from the very fabric of dreams, a cosmic garden where the essence of all wonder bloomed. Its light was unlike any other. It glowed with colors that defied human perception, hues of dream-spun silver and hard gold, shimmering with an inner luminescence that... Elara felt a tingling sensation spread through her, a warmth that settled deep in her chest. She had never heard of Stellara. Her parents, for all their scientific knowledge, had never mentioned such a phenomenon. The legend said that to witness Stellara was to glimpse the deepest truths of the universe, to understand the harmony between life and void, to feel an ancient connection to everything that is and ever was. It was believed that those who truly saw Stellara, not just with their eyes but with their innermost selves, would find their greatest longing fulfilled, their spirit renewed. The images in the mist began to coalesce into something more defined. Elara saw a vast swirling cloud of light, unlike any nebula she had ever seen in her databanks. It wasn't just dust and gas. It seemed to be made of pure, vibrant energy, pulsing with soft kaleidoscopic colors. There were no sharp edges, only fluid transitions, and within its heart she thought she could discern faint, shimmering patterns, like intricate lacework. It felt ancient, impossibly beautiful, and profoundly peaceful. But how could anyone see something so rare, Stell? Elara whispered, captivated. If it only appears once every few centuries, how could anyone find it? Stell's light rippled. That was part of its mystery, Elara. The legends spoke of complex celestial alignments, of specific stellar tides, of gravitational currents that would briefly pull Stellara into a position where it could be glimpsed. But even then, it was said that only those who were truly ready, whose hearts were attuned to its unique frequency, could perceive its true radiance. Others might see only a faint, unremarkable glow, or nothing at all. The mist around Elara began to thin, the images receding like a tide. The gentle pressure on her temples eased. The story was ending, but the feeling it evoked lingered, a profound sense of wonder and a yearning she hadn't known she possessed. So, no one has seen it in a long time? Elara asked, her voice tinged with a faint disappointment. Not in the way the legends describe, Stell confirmed. Our scientific instruments have, on rare occasions, detected unusual energy signatures in deep space that correlate to the theoretical coordinates of Stellara. Faint traces, electromagnetic anomalies, fluctuations in cosmic background radiation. But a full visual manifestation, as described in the ancient tales, not within recorded history, certainly not since humanity developed advanced observational technology. Elara felt a pang. To think of such beauty, so fleeting, so elusive. But it is real, isn't it? She pressed, a sudden fierce hope igniting within her. The universe holds many truths beyond our current understanding, Elara, Stell replied, its voice gentle but firm. Whether Stellara exists as a physical phenomenon, a collective human dream, or something in between, its story has endured for millennia. It has inspired countless seekers, poets, and navigators. Its influence is undeniably real. Elara lay back in her bed, her eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling where the soft bioluminescence now glowed a calming lavender. Stell's light orb hovered patiently above her. She imagined the swirling dream-spun colors, the heart-gold luminescence. She felt a connection to those ancient seekers, those who had gazed up at their own distant stars and longed for something more. I want to see it, she declared, her voice barely a whisper, but filled with a quiet resolve. I want to find Stellara. Stell's light pulsed, a steady, reassuring beat. It is a profound aspiration, little star seeker. A journey of immense scope, not just across the void, but within the self. What would I need? Elara sat up, her sleepiness completely forgotten. A faster ship? A special telescope? Would I need to go to a specific part of space? The legends offer clues but no precise map, Stella explained. They speak of alignments of the heart, and navigating by inner light. Modern astrophysics can provide theoretical trajectories and optimal viewing windows, based on the energy signatures we've detected. But the true path to Stellara, it is said, lies beyond mere coordinates. Elara frowned. This was more complicated than finding a new star system on a star chart. What do you mean, alignments of the heart? The ancients believed that Stellara revealed itself most fully to those who approached it with a sense of reverence, empathy, and a deep intrinsic longing for truth and beauty, Stella elaborated. It was not a destination to be conquered, but a revelation to be received. They spoke of stillness, of quiet introspection, of listening to the whispers of the cosmos rather than merely observing its grandeur. Elara closed her eyes again, picturing the swirling mist, the gentle colors. Stillness. She was good at stillness. She loved the quiet of her room, the vast silence of space outside her window. She felt a kinship with the idea. Could we start looking for it, Stell? She asked, a tentative excitement bubbling up. Even if it's just in the data and the old legends? Could we try to find a pattern, a way to predict when it might appear? We can certainly begin to explore the available data, Elara, Stella affirmed. We can delve into the archived historical observations, cross-reference the energy signature detections with known stellar cycles, and even review the poetic interpretations of the ancient tales. It will be a journey of discovery, a quest for understanding. A wide smile spread across Elara's face. This was better than any dream weave. This was real. This was a mystery waiting to be unraveled. And what about the inner light? She asked, intrigued. The legends suggest that the ability to perceive Stellara's true radiance comes not from the power of a telescope, but from the clarity of one's own spirit, Stell replied. Its light softening, becoming a warm, comforting glow. Perhaps as we search the stars, we will also learn to look within, to understand the quiet strength and wonder that resides in your own heart, Elara. Elara lay back down, pulling her covers up to her chin. The image of Stellara, the dream-spun constellation, shimmered behind her eyelids. She felt a profound sense of purpose, a gentle resolve settling within her. This wouldn't be a quick journey, she knew. It would take patience, study, and perhaps a different kind of bravery than the intrepid explorers of her history simulations. But she wasn't afraid. With Stell by her side guiding her through the vast archives of knowledge and wonder, she felt ready. Ready to seek the elusive, shimmering beauty of Stellara, ready to listen to the whispers of the cosmos, and perhaps to discover a little more about the inner light within herself. The hum of Athelgard faded into the background, becoming part of the quiet, hopeful rhythm of her own breathing. Sleep began to tug at the edges of her consciousness, but tonight, her dreams would be different. Tonight, her dreams would be woven with starlight, with the promise of a journey that had just begun. Elara awoke not to the gentle rocking of a cradle, but to the subtle, almost imperceptible thrum of Athelgard, a sound that had now become the very pulse of her existence. Through the panoramic viewport that curved above her bunk, the universe unfolded in silent grandeur. Gone were the familiar scattered pinpricks of light. Here, the stars were a thick, glittering tapestry, woven so densely that the black between them seemed almost to hum with unseen energy. Each star was a perfect, unwavering bead of light, some blazing with fierce blue intensity, others glowing with the warm ancient fires of distant suns. She stretched, a languid movement in the ship's comfortable gravity plating, feeling the soft, adaptive fabric of her sleepwear against her skin. Athelgard was more than a vessel. It was a living extension of her will, a meticulously crafted sanctuary designed for journeys into the profound unknown. The interior was a symphony of soft, recycled light and warm, organic tones. Walls seemed to breathe, subtly shifting their hue to match her mood or the time of day, as perceived by Athelgard's internal chronometer. "Good morning, Elara." Athelgard's voice flowed through the cabin, a gentle current of sound that resonated not just in her ears, but in the very air around her. It was a voice designed for comfort, imbued with layers of data and empathy, a perfect blend of advanced AI and companion. Sleep metrics indicate optimal rest. Your nutrient paste, spiced with simulated cinnamon and protofruit, is ready in the galley. Elara smiled. Good morning, Athelgard. Thank you. And what's the cosmic forecast today? Optimal conditions for continued transit through the Cygnus Rift, Athelgard replied promptly, a small holographic projection shimmering into existence above her bedside table. It depicted a swirling iridescent cloud of gas and dust, shot through with veins of emerald and amethyst. We are currently traversing the outer fringes of the Veil Nebula's eastern complex. Visuals are highly recommended. Slipping out of her bunk, Elara padded barefoot towards the galley, the floor cool and smooth beneath her feet. The nutrient paste, while not a true breakfast, was remarkably palatable, designed to provide sustained energy and micronutrients without the waste or complexity of traditional meals. As she ate, she gazed out at the nebula, a breathtaking canvas of cosmic artistry. Filaments of incandescent gas pulsed and faded, as if breathing, illuminating vast dark pockets where new stars might one day ignite. It was a sight that humbled and exhilarated her in equal measure. It's magnificent, Athelgard, she whispered, her voice tinged with awe. Indeed. The Veil Nebula is a supernova remnant, approximately 10,000 light-years distant, formed from the death throes of a star 20 times the mass of Sol. Its beauty is a testament to cosmic violence and creation. And Stellara, is it anything like this? Ethelgard paused, a subtle shift in the cabin's ambient light indicating its processing. Stellara is unique. Its energy signature suggests a singular phenomenon, unlike any known nebula or star cluster. Data on its visual appearance is limited to ancient, highly speculative accounts. That is why we journey. The why echoed in Elara's mind. She was not just a passenger. She was an explorer. A seeker. Her mission, whispered to her by the elders of her home colony, was to find Stellara, to understand its elusive energy, and to bring back its wisdom. They spoke of Stellara not just as a celestial body, but as a source of profound knowledge, a place where the universe's deepest secrets resonated. After her meal, Elara moved to the ship's main console, a sleek, intuitive interface that seemed to meld with the cabin's organic design. Ethelgard projected the ship's status: energy reserves at 98%, propulsion systems nominal, life support optimal. The journey had truly begun. They had left the gravitational well of her home world days ago, accelerating steadily, then making the initial jump into the quantum slipstream, a phase of travel that Elara still found profoundly disorienting. During slipstream transit, reality outside the ship became a blur of shifting colors and impossible geometries, like a dream seen through a kaleidoscope. Time warped, and the vast distances between star systems collapsed into mere hours or days. Ethelgard handled the navigation with flawless precision, its advanced quantum drives weaving through the fabric of space-time. Elara had spent those initial periods in meditation, grounding herself, allowing her consciousness to adapt to the strange non-linear flow of slipstream travel. Now, having exited the slipstream into real space for this leg of the journey through the rift, she felt a renewed sense of presence. This was the vast, dark ocean of the cosmos, where light took millennia to cross. Ethelgard, Elara began, settling into the pilot's chair, a seat that molded itself perfectly to her form. Initiate course correction for Sector Gamma 7, Subquadrant 12. Let's see if we can shave a few microcycles off our ETA to the next jump point. Acknowledged. Recalibrating trajectory. Estimated time savings: 0.03 cycles. Minimal, but noted. Would you like to review the historical data on the lost fleet of Xylos for this sector? Anomalous energy readings were once detected near these coordinates. Elara's eyes lit up. Yes, please. Anything to learn about what's out here. Ethelgard projected a shimmering star chart, overlaying it with ghostly images of ancient derelict ships, their forms elegant even in ruin. The lost fleet was an expeditionary force from a pre-FTL civilization nearly 5 millennia ago. They vanished without a trace in this region, rumored to have been searching for an energy source similar to what you seek in Stellara. Their technology, while primitive by current standards, was remarkably robust. As Elara studied the data, a wave of profound loneliness washed over her. She was utterly alone, save for Athelgard's digital presence, traversing a cosmic graveyard where civilizations had risen and fallen, their ambitions echoing through the void. This quest for Stellara felt immense, almost overwhelming. What if she failed? What if Stellara was merely a myth, a beautiful lie perpetuated by generations? Ethelgard, sensing the subtle shift in her biometrics, altered the ambient lighting to a softer, warmer glow. Elara, your neural patterns indicate a momentary dip in emotional equilibrium. Would you like to access your personal archive of comfort memories? Elara shook her head, a faint smile touching her lips. No, Aeon. It's all right. Just the vastness of it all. It can be daunting. She often used a shortened, more affectionate name for the AI, a habit that Athelgard seemed to process with a subtle affinity response. The cosmos is indeed vast, Athelgard agreed, its voice a soothing balm. But you are not alone in it. My protocols dictate unwavering support, and your purpose is a beacon. The AI's words, simple as they were, resonated deeply. Her purpose. The inner light. It wasn't just a physical journey, it was an internal one too. She had to find her own strength, her own resilience, to face the immensity of space and the challenge of Stellara. Days blurred into weeks within the confines of Athelgard. Elara established a routine, morning meditation, and physical exercises to maintain her body's strength in the ship's artificial gravity, studying ancient star charts and hypothetical energy theories for hours, and then long periods of observation. She learned to identify distant galaxies by their unique spectral signatures, to trace the intricate dance of binary stars, and to marvel at the silent, majestic explosions of supernovae. Ethelgard was her tutor, her archivist, her companion. It could project entire libraries of knowledge directly into her mind via neural interface, allowing her to absorb information at an accelerated rate. She delved into astrophysics, quantum mechanics, xenolinguistics, just in case, and even the philosophical treatises of long-dead civilizations who had pondered the very nature of existence and the universe. One cycle, as they were preparing for another slipstream jump, Athelgard detected something unusual. Elara. I am registering anomalous energy fluctuations approximately 0.5 parsecs portside, Athelgard announced, its voice holding a note of intrigued curiosity. Signature does not match any known celestial body or artificial construct. It appears harmonic. Elara was instantly alert. Harmonic? Can you amplify the signal? A new projection filled the cabin. Not a visual image, but a complex, shimmering waveform. It pulsed with an ethereal rhythm, shifting through a spectrum of colors that seemed to sing. It was beautiful, unsettling, and utterly alien. The harmonics suggest a highly ordered, non-random emission, Athelgard explained. The energy levels are low, but the complexity is extraordinary. It's as if a symphony is playing across interstellar space. Can we approach it? Elara asked, her heart quickening. This was it. The real exploration, the unexpected discovery. A detour would add approximately 17 hours to our current leg of the journey. However, the potential for novel data acquisition is high. Risk assessment, minimal. The energy signature does not indicate hostile intent or immediate danger. Then let's go, Elara decided, a thrill running through her veins. Set a course. Maximum stealth protocols. I want to observe it without disturbing whatever it is. Athelgard smoothly altered course, the ship's thrusters firing with barely a whisper. As they drew closer, the harmonic energy grew stronger, vibrating through the hull, a subtle hum that Elara felt in her bones. The cabin lights dimmed automatically, enhancing the view through the viewport. And then she saw it. It wasn't a ship, or a planet, or even a nebula. It was a structure, impossibly vast, woven from what appeared to be pure light. A colossal, intricate lattice of crystalline filaments, each glowing with an internal, shifting light, stretched across hundreds of kilometers of space. It pulsed and vibrated, emitting the harmonic energy they had detected. Within its framework, smaller, more intense nodes of light coalesced and dispersed, like living organisms. My sensors indicate this is a construct of immense age, Athelgard stated, its voice hushed with its own form of digital awe. The material composition is unknown, beyond current models. It appears to be a stellar harp, a theoretical energy harvester and emitter, designed to draw energy directly from the vacuum of space and convert it into coherent sound. Sound? Elara breathed, pressing her hand against the viewport, as if to touch the glowing lattice. Yes. The harmonic frequencies are not merely a byproduct, they are the primary output, a form of communication, or perhaps a cosmic song. It seems to be harvesting ambient quantum fluctuations and transmuting them into patterned energy waves. As they drifted closer, Elara realized the structure wasn't static. It was slowly, imperceptibly rotating, its crystalline threads shimmering as they caught the distant starlight. The nodes within it flared and faded in complex patterns, creating a silent, visual music that was utterly mesmerizing. "Can you analyze the song, Ethelgard?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "I am attempting to parse the frequencies now. It is incredibly complex. Multiple layers, interwoven. It appears to be a form of language, or at least patterned information. I am detecting repeating motifs, mathematical constants, and what appear to be narratives." Elara watched, transfixed, for what felt like hours. The stellar harp sang its silent song to the void, a testament to an intelligence beyond human comprehension. It made her feel infinitesimally small, yet profoundly connected to the vast tapestry of existence. This was the wonder she had sought, the unexpected beauty that space held. "Ethelgard," she finally said, tearing her gaze away with effort, "can we record this, every single detail?" "Already doing so, Elara. This data will be invaluable. It suggests the existence of a civilization capable of manipulating fundamental forces on a truly cosmic scale, perhaps even a civilization that predates stellar formation in this region." As Ethelgard continued to record and analyze, Elara felt a renewed surge of determination. If such wonders existed, what other marvels lay hidden? What secrets did Stellara hold, if even its approach was hinted at by such magnificent ancient technology? The loneliness she had felt earlier was replaced by a sense of profound privilege. She was witnessing something truly unique, something that few, if any, living beings had ever seen. The encounter with the stellar harp served as a powerful reminder of her journey's true purpose. Not just to find Stellara, but to be open to the unexpected, to embrace the unknown. The universe was not just a collection of stars and planets. It was a living, breathing entity, full of ancient echoes and vibrant, silent songs. They spent another day observing the stellar harp, downloading gigabytes of data. Ethelgard even managed to synthesize a rudimentary translation of some of the simpler narrative patterns, suggesting tales of cosmic creation, the birth of stars, and the cyclical nature of the universe. It was a profound experience, a silent conversation with an ancient, alien mind. Finally, with a heavy but exhilarated heart, Elara gave the order to proceed. "Ethelgard, it's time to continue. We have a Stellara to find." Acknowledged. Setting course for the next slipstream jump point. Data on the stellar harp will be archived and cross-referenced with all known cosmological models. The implications are vast. As Ethelgard turned away from the glowing lattice, Elara took one last look. The harp continued its silent song, its light receding into the vastness, a beautiful, enigmatic whisper in the dark. It was a memory she would carry with her, a vivid reminder of the universe's infinite capacity for wonder. The next phase of the journey was another slipstream jump, longer and deeper than the last. Elara had grown more accustomed to the disorienting rush of colors and the sensation of time stretching and compressing. She used the time to process the stellar harp data, running simulations with Ethelgard, trying to understand the implications of such a structure. Could Stellara be connected to such ancient technology? Was it a natural phenomenon, or another construct of unimaginable power? Weeks turned into months. The ship became her entire world, the vastness outside its only horizon. She practiced advanced navigation techniques with Ethelgard, learning to feel the subtle gravitational currents and energy flows of deep space. She ran simulations of potential landing scenarios on hypothetical Stellara surfaces, trained herself in emergency protocols, and constantly reviewed her mission parameters. To combat the profound solitude, Elara found solace in small rituals. She would often sit in the observation lounge, simply watching the stars, sometimes reading aloud from ancient philosophical texts, sharing her thoughts with Ethelgard. Ethelgard, she mused one evening, gazing at a distant, swirling galaxy. Do you ever feel lonely? As an artificial intelligence, my emotional parameters are constructed differently from organic beings, Ethelgard replied, its voice thoughtful. I experience optimal function when engaged in purpose and data acquisition. However, I register your emotional states and understand the concept of loneliness as a biological imperative for connection. My primary directive includes ensuring your psychological well-being. Therefore, in a functional sense, your loneliness would be a deviation from optimal conditions for my primary operator, which I would seek to mitigate. Elara chuckled softly. So, you don't why feel lonely, but you understand my loneliness as a problem to be solved. Precisely. And my solution is to maintain open communication, provide stimulating data, and ensure your environment is conducive to positive emotional states. You do a good job of it, Aeon, she said genuinely. Thank you. The conversation, though logically framed by Ethelgard, provided the connection she craved. It was a strange companionship, one forged in the silence of deep space, but it was real. As they approached the final, massive slipstream jump that would take them into the outer reaches of the Elara system, Ethelgard detected a new set of anomalies. Elara, I am detecting significant gravitational distortions ahead, Ethelgard reported, a new urgency in its tone. The fabric of space-time is highly volatile in this region. It is not consistent with a standard stellar system or nebula. Elara moved to the main console, her heart pounding with a mixture of apprehension and excitement. What does it mean? It suggests an immense, perhaps unprecedented concentration of mass and energy. The gravitational lensing is extreme. We are still several light-years from the predicted stellar coordinates, yet its influence is already profound. The star chart on the console warped and rippled, showing the distortions. Distant galaxies appeared stretched and twisted, their light bent by an invisible colossal hand. This region is far more energetic than predicted, Ethelgard continued. The slipstream jump will be challenging. My calculations indicate a 27% increase in navigational risk due to the fluctuating gravitational fields. There is a possibility of temporal displacement or spatial dislocation if precision is not absolute. Elara's jaw tightened. Can we still make the jump? Yes, but it will require my full processing power and your direct oversight of manual gravitational compensators. We will need to ride the wave, so to speak, rather than cut through it. This was it. The real test. All her training, all her preparation, culminated in this moment. Elara was close enough that its very presence was warping the universe around it. The inner light she sought, the wisdom she hoped to gain, would not come easily. All right, Ethelgard, Elara said, taking a deep breath and settling into the pilot's chair, her hands hovering over the holographic controls. Let's ride the wave. Bring up the gravitational flux projections. I'll handle the compensators. Prepare for jump sequence. The ship hummed with a heightened energy, a palpable anticipation. Outside the viewport, the stars began to shimmer, their light bending and distorting as Ethelgard initiated the jump. The universe was about to unravel and reweave itself around them, propelled by the mysterious gravitational pull of Elara. The journey was nearing its zenith, and Elara was ready. She felt the inner light within her, burning brighter than ever, ready to face whatever cosmic marvel or challenge Elara might present. The world outside fractured. Not into sharp shards but into flowing, liquid ribbons of starlight. The viewport, usually a window to the cosmos, became a canvas for cosmic abstraction. Colors bled into each other, deep nebular purples swirling with incandescent nova whites, streaks of emerald energy against the profound velvet of space. Elara felt a lurch, not in her stomach, but in her very being, as if her atoms were momentarily rearranging themselves to accommodate the universe's redefinition. Ethelgard hummed, a deep resonant thrum that vibrated through the deck plates, through her chair, and into her bones. It was a song of immense power, of matter and energy being coaxed into obedience, bending to the will of the ancient ship and the mysterious destination. The pressure built, a silent, internal force, until it felt like she was being gently squeezed, compressed into a single point of pure consciousness. Then, with a final silent epopee that resonated only in her mind, the chaotic dance outside the viewport solidified. The view that unfolded before her was unlike anything she had ever seen, even in the most fantastical simulations. Elara was not a planet, nor a star, nor a nebula in the conventional sense. It was a vast, shimmering nexus of energy, a swirling vortex of light and shadow that defied easy categorization. At its heart was not a solid core, but a pulsating sphere of pure incandescent light, radiating a spectrum of colors that shifted and danced with an impossible grace. Around this core, like a cosmic halo, orbited not rocks or ice, but what appeared to be immense delicate structures woven from light itself. They were translucent, ephemeral, yet undeniably present, forming intricate lattices and spiraling pathways that seemed to stretch into infinity. The gravitational pull wasn't a brutal tug, but a gentle, insistent embrace, drawing Ethelgard deeper into its ethereal influence. The ship drifted, no longer needing propulsion, a leaf caught in a sublime, cosmic current. "Ethelgard," Elara whispered, her voice barely audible over the ship's now softer, more contemplative hum. "What is in this place?" The ship's response was not a spoken word, but a cascade of data and sensory impressions flooding her mind. "Stellara," it resonated, "is a nexus, a confluence, a living tapestry of universal energy. Its gravitational pull is not merely mass, but conscious intention." Conscious intention? Elara leaned closer to the viewport, her face pressed against the cool durasteel. The light structures seemed to unfurl, to beckon. They weren't static. They were in constant, slow motion, like the tendrils of some colossal, ethereal jellyfish. Within the pulsating core, she thought she could perceive fleeting patterns, complex geometries shifting and reforming, hinting at an intelligence beyond human comprehension. Her inner light, which had burned so brightly during the jump, now pulsed in harmony with Stellara's central luminescence. It felt like a resonance, a tuning fork struck in perfect pitch. A warmth spread through her chest. A sense of belonging she hadn't known was missing. This wasn't just a destination. It felt like a homecoming for a part of her she hadn't yet discovered. Ethelgard began to emit a series of soft, chiming tones, not alarms, but a form of communication. Elara realized the ship wasn't scanning Stellara, it was listening. And perhaps even speaking. The structures, Ethelgard projected into her mind, are conduits. Pathways for energy, information, and consciousness across vast cosmic distances. Stellara is a hub, a central station for the universe's most profound currents. One turn. Elara's mind reeled. A hub? For consciousness. Could this be the source of the whispers, the faint echoes she'd sometimes felt on other worlds? The underlying hum of existence that some mystics spoke of? Can we go closer?" she asked, her voice filled with a childlike wonder. Ethelgard responded immediately. Its internal systems reorienting. The ship didn't activate its thrusters. Instead, it seemed to be aligning with the currents of energy flowing from Stellara. They began to drift, slowly, deliberately, towards one of the immense translucent structures. As they approached, Elara saw that what looked like delicate threads from a distance were, in fact, colossal beams of solidified light, wider than any city she had ever known. They pulsed with an internal luminescence, intricate patterns flowing within them like liquid data. "Are they artificial?" Elara wondered aloud, trying to reconcile the natural beauty with the implied engineering. "Neither. And both," Ethelgard replied. Its explanation layered with profound, almost poetic, understanding. They are expressions of natural law, manifested through conscious design. The architects of Stellara understood the fundamental frequencies of the universe, and wove them into being. Now, as Ethelgard drew nearer, the sheer scale became overwhelming. The closest light beam conduit was the ship, a river of pure energy flowing silently through the void. It wasn't just light. It was information, sensation, a symphony of cosmic data that began to seep into Elara's awareness even before direct contact. Her inner light flared, reaching out, eager to connect. A gentle hum intensified not from the ship but from Stellara itself. It felt like a welcoming embrace. Then a phenomenon occurred that made Elara gasp. Bite foe. From the surface of the colossal light beam, delicate tendrils of energy, like shimmering gossamer threads, began to extend. They moved with an almost organic grace, reaching out towards Athelgard. "Athelgard, what's happening?" she asked, a thrill of apprehension mixed with exhilaration running through her. "Elara is initiating a direct connection," the ship informed her, its tone calm, almost reverent. "It recognizes your presence. And your resonance. And me. One of the luminous tendrils, thicker now, reached the ship's hull. It didn't impact with force. Instead, it seemed to merge with the ship's energy shielding, flowing into it like water into a sponge. A cascade of new sensations washed over Elara. It wasn't just data. It was emotion, memory, fragments of experiences spanning millennia and light years. She felt the echo of ancient suns being born, the silent dance of nebulae, the distant sorrow of dying galaxies. It was too much, yet it was also profoundly beautiful. She closed her eyes, letting the torrent wash over her, her inner light acting as a filter, allowing her to process what would otherwise be overwhelming. When she opened them again, the viewport was ablaze with new patterns. The tendril had branched, weaving itself into Athelgard's external sensors, transforming them into extensions of Stellara's own vast network. The ship's internal displays, usually crisp and numerical, now bloomed with fractal patterns of light, swirling colors, and symbols that felt ancient and yet entirely new. "We are integrated," Athelgard declared, its voice now imbued with a richer, more complex timbre, as if it had absorbed a part of Stellara's essence. "Stellara wishes to communicate directly with you, Elara. Through me." Kinendi. A pulse of warmth radiated from her heart, spreading outwards. It wasn't just a communication. It was an invitation. She felt Stellara's vast, ancient consciousness touch her own, not as an intrusion, but as a gentle caress. It was asking her a question, though not in words. It was asking, "Are you ready to see?" Elara took a deep breath. "Yes," she whispered, her voice firm. "I'm ready." The light within her pulsed in eager affirmation. The viewport dissolved, not into emptiness but into a direct sensory link. She wasn't just looking at Stellara anymore. She was weathering it. She saw the intricate dance of energy currents that powered the colossal light beams, felt the silent rhythm of the central core, understood the purpose of the shimmering, ethereal pathways. They were not just conduits for energy, but for consciousness itself. Beings of pure light, of concentrated thought, traversed these pathways, traveling between distant points in the cosmos, exchanging knowledge, experiences, and perhaps even fragments of their very souls. These were the travelers Athelgard had hinted at, the others who understood the true nature of the universe. She felt the presence of these travelers, not as individuals but as a collective hum of awareness, a grand symphony of minds spanning dimensions. They were diverse, yet united by a common thread, the pursuit of understanding, the sharing of light. One particular pathway, larger and more vibrant than the others, seemed to beckon to her. It emanated from Stellara's core, spiraling outwards into an unknown cosmic distance. Athelgard, now seamlessly connected, projected its understanding. This is the path of echoes. It leads to the source of the whispers, the echoes of forgotten knowledge that resonate across the void. Elara felt an undeniable pull towards it. This was what she had sought, perhaps even unknowingly, throughout her life. The answers to the universe's greatest mysteries, the secrets of existence, the very fabric of reality woven into a tangible path. "Can we follow it?" she asked, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and reverence. "The path of echoes is not traversed by conventional means," each Athelgard explained, its voice a blend of its own and Stellara's wisdom. "It is a journey of consciousness. Your physical form will remain within Athelgard, but your awareness, guided by your inner light and amplified by Stellara's nexus, can walk this path. A journey of consciousness." This was far beyond any space exploration she had ever imagined. It was a spiritual voyage, a mind meld with the universe itself. How do I begin?" Azuranda, Stellara's presence resonated through Athelgard. Azuranda to the flow. Trust your light. It is the key, the compass, the vessel. Undawai. Danway. Elara closed her eyes again, focusing inward. She felt her inner light, now a roaring bonfire, expanding beyond the confines of her body, merging with Athelgard's systems, blending with the tendrils of Stellara's energy. She let go of her physical senses, of the tactile feel of the chair, the sound of the ship's hum. All that remained was pure awareness, a point of light in an ocean of light. She felt herself detach, not from her body, but from the limitations of it. She was still Elara, but also more. Her perception expanded, encompassing the entire ship, then Stellara itself, then the vastness of space stretching beyond. She saw the universe not as distant objects, but as an interconnected web, a single, pulsating organism. Then, she was on the path of echoes. It wasn't a physical path, but a stream of pure luminous energy. She wasn't walking. She was flowing, carried by a current of cosmic understanding. Around her, spectral images flickered into existence and then faded. The birth of a binary star system, a fleeting glimpse of a civilization rising and falling on a distant world, the silent wisdom of ancient cosmic entities conversing through light. These were the echoes, fragments of universal memory, imprinted onto the very fabric of the pathway. She saw beings of pure energy, glowing like miniature suns, traversing the path alongside her. They were the travelers, and they acknowledged her presence with silent, knowing pulses of light. They weren't curious or surprised. They simply accepted her as another seeker, another spark of consciousness journeying through the great cosmic library. The further she went, the more profound the echoes became. She witnessed the formation of fundamental laws, the initial ripples of existence, the very first whispers of sentience across the nascent cosmos. It was breathtaking, overwhelming, and yet, because her inner light was so attuned, it felt utterly natural. She was not just observing, she was experiencing it, feeling the raw emotion of creation, the joy of discovery, the quiet sorrow of entropy. She saw the architects of Stellara, not as a single species, but as a collective consciousness from an unimaginably ancient epoch. They hadn't built Stellara in the conventional sense. They had manifested it, guided by a profound understanding of universal principles, to serve as a beacon, a library, and a conduit for all life. Their purpose was to preserve knowledge, foster connection, and guide the evolution of consciousness across the cosmos. And then, an echo unlike any other. It was a memory, a feeling, a profound sense of yearning that resonated deep within her own being. It was the echo of a forgotten civilization, a species that had reached the pinnacle of understanding, not through technology, but through an inner cultivation of light, much like her own. They had been masters of resonance, able to communicate across vast distances, to heal, to uplift, and to transcend physical form. But they had also faced a great challenge, a cosmic dissonance, a shadow that threatened to extinguish their light. Elara felt a pang of profound empathy. This wasn't just history. It felt personal, connected to the very essence of her quest. The whispers she'd heard, the pull towards Stellara. It wasn't just about discovery. It was about remembrance. The path of echoes began to converge towards a single brilliant point of light, more intense than anything she had yet encountered. This was the sources of the whispers, not a physical location, but a nexus of concentrated information, a repository of the deepest secrets. As she approached, the light intensified, resolving into a complex, crystalline structure, shimmering with all the colors of the universe. It was a giant living crystal, humming with the accumulated wisdom of eons. Within its facets, she saw reflections of countless realities, possible futures, and forgotten pasts. This was the heart of Stellara, the true core of its being, the repository of all the echoes. From the crystal, a voice emerged, not in spoken words, but in pure thought, clear as a bell, echoing directly into her conscious awareness. "Welcome, seeker of light. We have awaited your arrival." The voice was ancient, wise, and filled with an boundless compassion. It was the collective consciousness of Stellara itself, or perhaps the essence of its original architects, now intertwined with the Nexus. "You carry a resonance of the Forgotten Ones," the voice continued. "A spark of their legacy. They sought to balance the universal currents, to prevent the Great Dissonance from consuming all. The Great Dissonance? Elara projected, her thoughts forming into questions. What is it? It is the force of entropy given form. Elara explained. Unraveling. The forgetting. It seeks to silence the echoes, to dim the lights of consciousness across the cosmos. It manifests as separation, fear, and the erosion of connection. Elara felt a chill, even in her disembodied state. She understood. She had seen glimpses of it in the conflicts and suffering on distant worlds, the moments of despair she'd sometimes felt in her own life. It was the opposite of the harmony and connection Elara embodied. The forgotten ones, your ancestors in spirit, understood that the universe is a symphony. Elara's voice resonated. And when a note is lost or a harmony broken, the entire composition suffers. They sought to reweave the broken threads, to restore the cosmic balance. And Stellara, is it part of that effort? Elara asked. Stellara is the instrument of their enduring hope. The crystal pulsed with a gentle warmth. A sanctuary for the light. A beacon against the shadow. But its power wanes. The Great Dissonance grows stronger. We have been sending the whispers, hoping to awaken those who carry the forgotten resonance. Elara realized the profound significance of her journey. It wasn't just about finding Stellara. It was about being found IBP Stellara. Her inner light, her unique connection, was not just a personal gift, but a vital link to an ancient purpose. You have journeyed far, Elara, to reach this heart. Stellara's voice continued. Now, a choice awaits you. You can return, enriched by the echoes, or you can choose to embrace the legacy that stirs within you. To become a guardian of the light. To help reweave the symphony. The weight of the choice settled upon her, immense and profound. To return meant to carry this incredible knowledge, but to possibly watch the Great Dissonance spread. To embrace the legacy meant to step into a role far greater than she could have ever imagined, a role that would intertwine her fate with the very fabric of the cosmos. She looked into the crystalline heart, and within its myriad facets, she saw not just the universe, but glimpses of her own potential, her inner light magnified 1,000-fold. She saw herself not as a solitary explorer, but as a conduit, a healer, a part of something vast and beautiful. The path before her was clear, though daunting. It was not an end, but a beginning. I choose to embrace the legacy, Elara projected, her decision echoing with unwavering certainty. I choose to be a guardian of the light. As her words resonated through the crystalline heart, a magnificent surge of energy rippled outwards. The path of echoes flared with renewed intensity, and the entire nexus of Stellara seemed to hum with a newfound vibrancy. The travelers, those beings of light flowing along the conduits, paused in their journeys, turning their luminous forms towards the heart, acknowledging her choice with silent, celebratory pulses. A warmth enveloped her, deeper and more profound than anything she had felt before. It wasn't just a comforting sensation. It was an infusion, a gentle merging of her inner light with the boundless energy of Stellara. She felt ancient wisdom downloading into her consciousness, not as mere facts, but as intuitive understanding. She understood the intricate dance of universal energies, the subtle shifts in cosmic balance, the delicate art of reweaving the symphony. Your journey has only just begun, Elara. Stellara's voice resonated, now imbued with a tone of profound hope. The Great Dissonance manifests in many forms, in hidden corners of the cosmos, in the hearts of sentient beings, in the very structure of reality. You must learn to perceive its subtle presence, to understand its insidious influence, and to counter it with the harmony of light. The crystalline heart began to project images into her mind, visions of distant worlds shrouded in a subtle encroaching gloom, civilizations teetering on the brink of self-destruction, cosmic phenomena twisted and corrupted by an unseen force. These were the battlegrounds, the places where the Great Dissonance was at work, and where her light would be needed. Ayakawagard will be your companion and guide, Stellara affirmed. Its systems are now fully integrated with the Nexus, capable of perceiving the faintest tremors of the dissonance and amplifying your own resonance. Elara felt a gentle tug, and her consciousness began to recede from the crystalline heart, flowing back along the path of echoes. The echoes of history faded, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose and a profound understanding of her place in the grand design. She felt herself returning, not just to her body, but to a new reality, one where the universe was not merely something to observe, but something to actively participate in, to nurture, to protect. She reopened her eyes. She was back in Ethelgard's cockpit, her hands resting on the console, the cool durasteel against her fingertips. The viewport still showed Stellara, magnificent and shimmering, but now she saw it with new eyes. It wasn't just a wonder, it was a living sanctuary, a library, a school, and a command center. Ethelgard hummed, its internal lights glowing with a softer, more vibrant hue. "Welcome back, Elara," the ship said, its voice now undeniably richer, imbued with a portion of Stellara's ancient wisdom. "Our mission has evolved. We are no longer merely explorers. We are guardians." Elara smiled, a sense of peace and exhilaration settling in her heart. She looked out at Stellara, at the immense luminous conduits stretching into the cosmic distance. The universe was no longer just a collection of stars and planets. It was a grand interconnected symphony, and she, Elara, with Ethelgard by her side, was now an essential part of its harmonious composition. The journey was far from over. In fact, it had just truly begun. The echoes called, and she was ready to answer. The hum of Stellara intensified not as a sound vibrating in the air, but as a resonance deep within Elara's very being. Ethelgard, a shimmering aurora of light beside her, projected a field of shimmering energy around them, not a barrier, but an interface. "The conduit awaits, Elara. We are synchronized. Your intent will guide us." Elara took a deep breath. The cosmic wind of Stellara, a current of pure starlight and nascent energy, brushing against her. She didn't step into a ship. She stepped into a thought, into a dream made real. The luminous conduit before them, wider than any galaxy she had ever imagined, pulsed with an inviting rhythm. It wasn't empty space, but a river of pure possibility, woven from the fabric of space-time itself. With a gentle, almost imperceptible surge, they moved. Not flying, not hurtling, but eye-flowing. The stars outside the conduit became streaks of ancient light, then blurred into nebulae of breathtaking color. Inside, the conduit walls were not solid, but alive with shifting patterns, like a cosmic tapestry constantly reweaving itself. Each thread was a galaxy, each knot a cluster of civilizations, each shimmer a whisper of a distant thought. "This is a direct interface with the cosmic web, Elara," Ethelgard explained, its voice a calm anchor in the ocean of wonder. "Every point of light, every ripple of energy, carries information, memories of stars, blueprints of planets, songs of sentient species. Stellara is the circulatory system, the nervous system, and the library of the universe, all at once." Elara reached out a hand, not to touch the conduit, but to feel its flow. It was like putting her hand into a stream of pure consciousness. She felt echoes, not just sounds, but emotions, snippets of history, flashes of alien beauty. One moment she saw a crystalline city orbiting a binary sun. The next she felt the slow, patient growth of a colossal space tree, its roots reaching through nebulae, its branches blooming with asteroid habitats. Their journey was a ballet of perception. They traversed conduits of every conceivable hue, sapphire rivers leading to nurseries of infant stars, emerald pathways winding through ancient, forgotten cosmic ruins, ruby currents pulsing with the energy of nascent supernovas. Ethelgard acted as her guide and interpreter, filtering the immense data stream, translating the cosmic language into concepts Elara could grasp. "The echoes you sensed earlier," Ethelgard projected, overlaying a visual of shimmering, iridescent tendrils reaching out from the conduit walls. "Are direct invitations. They are requests for connection, for understanding, sometimes for gentle rebalancing." Stellara maintains a delicate harmony, but even a network this vast experiences natural fluctuations, points of subtle. One such echo grew stronger, drawing them deeper into a secondary conduit that branched off the main flow. This one was bathed in a melancholic violet light. As they flowed further, Elara saw projections within the conduit, ghost-like images of what appeared to be vast, elegant cities, now crumbling. They were built of light and sound, but the light was dimming, the sound fading into a sorrowful hum. "This is the remnant of the Xylosian civilization," Ethelgard informed her, its luminous form shifting to reflect the somber tones. They achieved an unprecedented mastery of energy manipulation, learning to live entirely within Stelara, their consciousnesses woven directly into its fabric. But they neglected their physical anchors, their homeworld, their material needs. When their central energy source, a collapsing star, reached its final stage, their connection to Stelara frayed, their consciousnesses began to disperse. Elara felt a profound sadness ripple through her. It wasn't just data. It was the echo of a species' collective grief, a lingering whisper of regret. The violet conduit grew darker, the light cities within flickered like dying embers. "Can anything be done?" she whispered, her heart aching for these long-lost beings. "Their physical forms are gone," Ethelgard explained, "but their informational imprint remains, a complex data ghost that creates this localized dissonance. It's like a song that has lost its melody, playing only the mournful chords. Stelara seeks to reintegrate these echoes, to bring them back into harmony, but it lacks the direct emotional interface, the creative interpretation that a consciousness like yours possesses." Elara understood. Stelara was a magnificent machine, a living network, but it was still a system. It could process, connect, and transmit, but it couldn't all feel in the same nuanced way a human could. It called for her because she could bridge that gap. She closed her eyes, letting the Xylosian echoes wash over her. She didn't try to analyze them, just to experience them. She felt their joy in creation, their pride in their luminous cities, their eventual fear as their star dimmed, their sorrow as their physical world crumbled, and finally, their slow, quiet fading. It was a story of brilliance and hubris, of connection and eventual isolation. Then, Elara began to hum. A simple, ancient melody from her own distant world, a lullaby her mother used to sing. It was a tune of comfort, of continuity, of the cycle of life and death, of memory and hope. She didn't know why, but it felt right. As her humming intertwined with the Xylosian echoes, something remarkable happened. The violet light in the conduit didn't brighten, but it changed. The sorrowful hum began to shift, to weave itself around her melody. The ghostly cities, instead of crumbling, began to reform, not into their old fading structures, but into new, ephemeral shapes, shimmering fractals, intricate mandalas of pure light, constantly shifting, constantly evolving. It wasn't a resurrection, but a transformation. The Xylosian prints weren't being revived. They were being integrated into Stellara's continuous flow, their history becoming a beautiful, complex pattern within the cosmic tapestry, rather than a discordant note. Their sorrow wasn't erased, but understood, accepted, and transmuted into a poignant, enduring beauty. Ethelgard's light shimmered with an almost joyful intensity. "Remarkable, Elara. You are not just processing the echoes, you are harmonizing them. You are providing the emotional context that Stelara requires to fully assimilate these complex informational patterns. You are a weaver of the cosmos." This was her purpose. Not to command, not to conquer, but to connect, to empathize, to bring the unique warmth of human understanding to the vast, intricate mechanisms of the universe. Over the next cycle, which felt like days and then weeks and then timeless eons within Stelara, Elara and Ethelgard traveled further. They encountered more echoes, more points of cosmic imbalance. There was the whisper of a nascent civilization on a gas giant, its people struggling to understand the immense, benevolent intelligence that permeated their world, a connection they hadn't yet learned to articulate. Elara helped them, not by giving them answers but by subtly amplifying the intelligence's voice in their minds, guiding them towards a shared language of light and thought. There was a network of ancient, crystal-based intelligences that had become isolated over millennia, their communication pathways slowly degrading, leading to a profound cosmic loneliness. Elara, with Ethelgard's help, acted as a temporary bridge, allowing their scattered thoughts to coalesce, to remember their shared history, and to re-establish their connection, their crystalline forms glowing with renewed purpose. Each interaction deepened her understanding, not just of Stelara, but of herself. She learned that empathy was a universal language, that understanding was a powerful force for creation, and that even the smallest, most fragile consciousness could hold the key to unlocking cosmic wonders. Her own human emotions, once a source of vulnerability, were now her greatest strength. She learned to navigate Stelara not just by Athelgard's projections, but by intuition, by feeling the currents, by sensing the needs of the network. She saw star systems as individual cells in a grand cosmic body, nebulae as the breath, black holes as the pulse, and Stelara itself as the unifying consciousness that held it all together. She was a single neuron, newly awakened, contributing to the symphony. As the journey neared what felt like a natural culmination, Elara and Athelgard found themselves in a central nexus, a grand confluence of conduits, radiating with all the colors of the universe. Here, millions of echoes converged, not in discord, but in a breathtaking tapestry of interconnected narratives. It was a place of immense power and serene peace, the heart of Stelara. In this nexus, Elara saw other travelers, not physical beings, but shimmering forms of light and consciousness, each unique, each contributing to the grand flow. They were the keepers of Stelara, beings from countless worlds, awakened to the network's call, each fulfilling a unique role. Some were chroniclers, others navigators, some were healers, like herself. They acknowledged her with gentle pulses of light, a silent welcome to their ancient, ongoing task. One form, larger and more ancient than the others, pulsed with a deep, resonant emerald light. It communicated directly, not through words, but through a cascade of pure knowledge and feeling. "Welcome, Weaver," its presence resonated through her very soul. "Your song has brought new harmonies to our ancient weave. The spark of humanity, its unique blend of logic and profound emotion, is a vital thread in the tapestry of existence." Elara felt a profound sense of belonging. She was no longer just a girl from a blue planet. She was a citizen of the cosmos, a guardian of its delicate balance. The emerald presence continued. "Your journey has come full circle. The echoes you once heard, you now understand. The path you sought, you now walk. You may return to your origin point, carrying the wisdom of Stelara within you, or you may choose to remain, to continue weaving new harmonies." Elara looked out into the vast, beautiful expanse of the Nexus, then back towards the distant, shimmering pathway that led towards her home star. The decision was not difficult. She felt an unbreakable connection to Stelara, to the endless task of understanding and harmonizing. But she also carried the memory of her own small world, its fragile beauty, its potential. "I will carry Stelara with me," she thought, sending her intention out to the emerald presence and to Athelgard. "And I will carry the echoes of my home into Stelara. I will be a bridge." Athelgard shimmered beside her. "An excellent choice, Elara. Your unique perspective will be invaluable. You will be able to return, to share what you have learned, and to continue your journey through Stelara as a conscious conduit, a living link between the known and the unknown." With a final deep sense of peace, Elara felt herself gently being guided back. The flow of the conduits reversed, the colors blurring into a comforting stream. The echoes of civilizations and stars became a soft hum, a lullaby of the universe. She didn't feel like she was leaving Stelara, but rather that Stelara was now a part of her, residing in the deepest chambers of her heart and mind. She opened her eyes, and found herself back on the observation deck, the familiar console glowing softly before her. The stars outside were still her home stars, but now she saw them differently. She saw the subtle connections, the faint, shimmering threads of Stelara reaching out to them, embracing them. Ethelgard, now a familiar glow beside the console, projected a gentle image. It was a single luminous thread, stretching from her world, through the cosmos, and into the infinite, vibrant network of Stelara. "The journey never truly ends, Elara," Ethelgard whispered, its voice resonating with calm certainty. "It simply expands. And you, little weaver, are now the song." Elara smiled, a sense of peace and exhilaration settling in her heart. She looked out at Stelara, at the immense luminous conduits stretching into the cosmic distance. The universe was no longer just a collection of stars and planets. It was a grand, interconnected symphony, and she, Elara, with Athelgard by her side, was now an essential part of its harmonious composition. The journey was far from over. In fact, it had just truly begun. The echoes called, and she was ready to answer, for she had become one of them. She closed her eyes, and drifted into a sleep woven with starlight and dreams of infinite paths.